Hi, I am sorry that I forgot to record this morning, but here's the recording for Language Arts for October 5th, 2022. Um, I am going to just go over the things that we went over in class because I think it's really important for you to know them. So first of all, we went over the types of word analogies, that mini book. Make sure that you keep the mini book with you so that you can find it again next week, because we're going to keep going through these analogies to help you understand how to do them in your schoolwork. Okay, so we're done week one's work, or we should be done week one. We still have to do the me and three. I keep forgetting to do that, but now that I think we've got all our technical issues figured out, we will do that the next class if we can. Remember to print off a reading log so that you're getting your reading done and recorded for the month of October. You should also be working on the sentences unit, but here's where we're going to go into the Greek and Latin roots. Okay, so in the Greek and Latin roots, like I said, we have 14 units. And they're fairly short units, so it shouldn't take you long to get through them. I don't expect you to do the whole unit in one day, but you can if you want to. You have 2 weeks to get the work in each of these units done. So that's printing off the unit words and going through them, and going through all of these exercises, including this word and definition match. Remember that the 2 optional assignments at the bottom, the interactive notebook and the doodle notes, are both optional. They will not be marked. If you want to do them, you can. If you find they're helpful, then I've got more of these for the rest of the units. If they're not helpful, don't worry about it. So going through these just briefly, you're going to click on them, and actually I'm going to see if I can do this viewing the course as Ethan. So when I go into here, go into the unit 1, just add water, so it's all words dealing with water. Remember to print off the first page so you have that as a reference, and you should have a binder to put that into so that you can keep track of it. 1A is your sentence completion. So you click on that. Oh yeah, I can't see exactly what the assignments are, so let me go back again. Sorry guys. Let me go back to course. I thought this might be a quicker and cleaner way to do it, but there just is no clean way to do it. So again, going into the sentence completion, you're going to complete the sentences from the word from your list. Start a new attempt. Read the sentence. One of these words will fit in there, but only one word is correct. So the boats were bobbing up and down in the, and we said the word that makes sense in this one is marina. If you're not sure, look at the list of words that you printed off and make sure that you have that beside you so that you know what the definitions are. You can click next, or you can just click on the number 2 to go to the next one. Do the next question. Click on the next one. Remember, if you're not sure and need to go back, you can set the flag to that one. And then when you get to the last question and finish the last question, click review. It'll show you which question you flagged. Then you can click there and go back to it. Try it again. And then after you're done that, when you've done the review, finish and then submit it. And then you're done 1A. So it's only 10 questions. It's not very long. So the hardest part is just knowing the definitions for the words so that you know which word to put in there. But like I said, have your word list beside you, because this isn't a test. This is just for you to learn. So there's no need for you to treat it like a test and act like you can't use helps. Okay? 1B, again, we'll go to the preview, is the yes or no. So on this one, all you have to do is pick yes or no. Deserts are usually located in maritime regions. So the bold word is always the word that is in our unit that we're studying. So we know that if this unit is all about water, deserts are generally known to not have a lot of water. So deserts are not in maritime regions. So we'd click the no. And then move on to the next question. Continue going. Make sure that you know what the definition is so that you know if the answer is yes or no. And same thing, get to the end, review it. If you flagged anything, then go back on that one and try it again. If you've attempted it, by the way, it'll show this line underneath. If you have not attempted, then there won't be anything there. Like I didn't attempt any of those, right? I looked at this, so it's partially attempted, but I didn't do anything. Click your finish and submit it. And again, 10 questions, that's all. The third one is a little bit trickier because here you're choosing two. It's not just one thing, you have to choose two words that best explain or define the bold root word. And remember, you get 3 attempts on all of these. So if you mess it up the first time, you can go back and redo it. So we looked at this one already this morning. Dehydrate is the word. Choose 2 words that work with dehydrate. If we dehydrate something, we make it dry. And another word for dry would be arid. So those are the answers for that one. Again, you can click next, or you can click on the number and go on to the next one. Get to the end, review them, finish, same thing. And then you submit. Mine don't get to be submitted because it's just a preview and I can't do it as a student would do it. But when you do it, then you can submit it for grading. One D is the analogies. And that's why we have the mini book for analogies. Remember the trick that I told you. Again, three attempts remaining. Choose the analogy that best matches. Sometimes they won't quite match the best, and you might be left wondering about it. But remember the trick that I told you. Look at the words that you're given and put them into a sentence that makes sense. The way that we would read an analogy is to say water polo is to aquatic. But that doesn't really sound like a proper sentence. So put it into a sentence like water polo is an aquatic sport. And that will help you to see which answer is the best one. Okay, because we might look at it and say, well, water polo and aquatic. So there's a sport and there's water. Well, here's one with water and it's a sport, so we'd click that one. But that's not the correct analogy. Okay? When you put it into a sentence, like I did, water polo is an aquatic sport, then we can see that this last one doesn't make sense. Because we'd be saying water is an aquatic, water is a swimming sport. Well, water isn't a sport at all, so that doesn't make sense. But when we read that sentence, water polo is an aquatic sport, we can substitute horse racing is an equestrian sport. So we'd know that that's the correct one. Let's look at another one just because we have time. Here we have the words dehydrated is to water. So dehydrated and water, we could make a sentence saying, if you are dehydrated, use water. So which one makes sense? And we actually did this one in class too. You might think thirsty and hungry, but not quite. If you are dehydrated, use water. If you are thirsty, use hungry. Doesn't make sense. But if you are starving, use food. Or we could say if you are starving, consume food. If you are dehydrated, consume water. That works too, right? So we know that that's the right one. Let's try one more. Marina is to boats. Think about a sentence we could use for that. A marina is where you park boats. We actually did this one too, didn't we? I forget how many we did. It was a long time ago this morning. And we decided a parking lot is where you park cars, right? Here's one we didn't do. Starfish is to marine. So think about a sentence we could use with those two words. We could say a starfish is a marine animal. Then could we say a polar bear is an Arctic animal? That one works, so we could mark that one. But remember to always check all your options for analogies, because sometimes one will seem like it's the right one, but there'll be another one that once you look at it, you realize, oh, that one's better. So remember a sentence, a starfish is a marine animal. A fish is a whale's animal. That makes no sense at all. A dog's is a cat's animal. That doesn't make sense either. A horse is a desert animal. Well, you might find a horse in a desert, but they're not considered desert animals. So polar bear and Arctic would be our best choice for this one. Let's look at one more. Rock, aquifer. This is a good one to pick actually to do because this one is really tricky. So rock and aquifer. How can these two words be related? Rock is to aquifer. So we could say a rock could be, sorry, I even have trouble figuring out this one. So if we say so for this one, I'm actually going to turn it around and use the second word first and say an aquifer can be made from rock. Okay, so let's look at these. A lake can be made from water. It can, right? So let's check that one first. Shells can be made from the ocean. Not exactly. That's not exactly how shells are made, right? So that doesn't really fit. Lava can be made from magma. Well, it could be that one. And sand can be made from the underground. Well, that doesn't really make sense either, does it? So it could be either A or C, so I wouldn't blame you if you got this one confused between the two of them. But the answer is actually A. And we will figure out more about, as we learn more about analogies, these will become easier, but this one just is a really tricky one. Okay, so finish off those analogies and do your best on them. And like I said, as we keep working on them, they'll get easier. If you want to work through them together, let me know and we can schedule a time to do that too. Next we have the time to explore. And in this one, you're going to sort the words into the table. So remember, that's when we have this chart here. Some sections will have more than one word. So we've got the root word on the left side over here, and then we've got blanks that show you where each of the words should be. So let's pick the word marina. So we know marina starts with M-A-R, so that's the mar root word. So we have no verbs, it can't be a verb. So is a marina a noun or an adjective? Remember that nouns are things and adjectives describe things. Well, marina is a place where we store boats, so it's obviously a noun. So it would go there. Like I said, I'm not sure how it's going to mark these three with aqua or these two with mar and mare that are adjectives, but I will check your work, and if it marks it wrong when you actually get it right, then I will just override the system and we'll figure that out. Okay, so don't worry too much about that. Remember too that on your list that you're supposed to have printed out of all the words, it shows you what the parts of speech are on there as well. So if you look very carefully, you can get all your answers right from that sheet. Section F is to apply what you know. And in this one, you're going to answer the questions in full sentences. If it's not a full sentence, you're going to have marks taken off. You'll notice that I marked the whole thing out of 10, but there's only 5 questions here. That's because 1 mark will be for getting the answer correct, and the other mark will be for giving me a full sentence. So these ones also are kind of open-ended. So like, how are aquifers and aqueducts alike? If you tell me something and it's different from what I'm thinking about how they're alike, but it still makes sense, then I will mark it correct. How are they different? Make sure you answer both of those questions in there for full marks. Here's the second question. What are some examples of maritime jobs? Give me 2 or 3 examples, because it says some. When it says some, we want more than 1, right? 2 or 3, possibly even 4 or more if you feel ambitious. Third question, when would you use marine as an adjective? And when would you use aquatic as an adjective? So think about how you would use those words as an adjective. And what things might you see, hear, or smell at a marina? That's question 4. So I want you to answer with more than just one thing, right? And question number 5, how can you prevent becoming dehydrated? So what would you do to not become dehydrated? Full sentences and good answers will give you full marks for those. Show me that you're thinking about it, not just racing through and just getting it done. The last one is this word and definition match. And let me see if I still have it open somewhere here. I don't think I do. I think I closed it up. Yeah. So remember this word and definition match. You're going to cut along all the dotted lines on the paper. And I'm just going to zoom out so that you can see the whole page. You'll have dotted lines around all of the words and around all of the definitions. So you want to take the word and match it with the correct definition, glue it on another piece of paper, and that's what you're going to submit to me when you get it all done. And then just put that into the binder behind your other Unit 1 words that you printed off at the beginning. These ones here. After you print off these words, then the next thing in your binder should be your word and definition match page. And again, your optional assignments are at the bottom. If you want to look at those and decide if you want to do them or not, that's completely up to you. All right, so that's basically what we covered in class this morning. If you have any questions, if you're still confused about it, don't worry too much about it, because we're going to be doing the exact same thing for the next unit. So if you look at these titles here, go into Unit 2, and you'll notice that it's the same thing over and over again, okay? Different words, but we're doing the same exercises with them. It'll be sentence completion, yes or no, choosing to, analogies, the time to explore, and apply what you know. So it'll be very repetitive in terms of what you're doing, but the words will change, and so you'll be learning more in each unit. You have until October 14th to get Unit 1 done, and I'm going to add that as soon as I'm finished recording this. So be working on that alongside of any of the other green folders that are here that you haven't got done yet. Okay, so the homophones and homonyms need to get done, and these sentences need to be done too. If you have any questions, send me a message and we will pick a time to do a conference together. And other than that, I hope you have a great Thanksgiving and that you stay safe, and remember to enjoy all the people and the things that God has blessed us with. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.